Hey guys, midweek energy update as we continue to move through a week that really is quite monumental in its nature. We have reached a critical turning point. Pluto, who has been in Capricorn since 2008, left the sign of Capricorn yesterday on November 19th, entered the sign of Aquarius where he will be until 2044. This is bringing in a new generational energy, and over the next 20 years, we will be experiencing the Aquarian themes, archetypes, characteristics playing themselves out a bit more prominently in our 3D experience. And as we hit our midpoint of the week this week, actually, the moon is transiting through the sign of Leo. We'll be coming into an opposition with Pluto at that 0 degree of Aquarius, and also a conjunction to Mars, and also a trine to the North Node. Fated transformations are underway right now. There could be some power struggles that are going on as well, but really everything that is happening right now is for a reason. There's no like purposelessness that is playing itself out there. Divine intervention, divine alignment, fated actions really characterizing the majority of what's going to be going on this week. We also have another grand trine in fire signs that is coming in on Thursday that we're going to be talking about in our report for today. There's also a likelihood of some type of awakening or just altering or shift in our perspective of ourselves that we discover as we move through the week as well. Overall, it is a busy week. There's a lot happening out there, a lot of important, like significant things happening this weekend. We've got a lot to talk about, you guys. So let's get into our report of the day. Let's take a look at where we're at and try to get an idea of where we're going as we continue to move through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you stick with me until the end of this video, I've done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We're going to start at the top with the astrology, pick up where we left off in our last video actually, and as I mentioned in my intro, this week really is energetically representing a pretty monumental shift, critical turning point, generational shift, as Pluto, who rules generational energy because his transits are so long, leaves the sign of Capricorn. This happened on yesterday, the 19th. Pluto formally exited Capricorn, where he was since 2008, entered the sign of Aquarius, where he will be until 2044. Now, 2043, Pluto does briefly leave the sign of Aquarius, but he's going to do the retrograde thing, go back into Aquarius, where he will be again formally until 2044 when he leaves, just like Pluto just made his formal exit from the sign of Capricorn. So we're looking at a 2-decade generational transit beginning this week, began yesterday on the 19th, that we're moving through now. And as a result of that, of course, we are going to see some powerful transformations and shifts begin to take place. One of the main things that I think this energy is going to do for us is it's going to decentralize things. Pluto transiting through the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is about control, limitation, constraint, rules, hierarchies, like regulations. When there is a Pluto Capricorn transit, Pluto ruling power in all of its forms, the power is going to be condensed in the hands of the few. That's just the way this energy operates, and we see it play out generationally every 250 years approximately. We will get a period of time where power is just very, very condensed along the Capricornian control system lines. So, you know, in our current, where we are currently in the unfolding of things, this past Pluto Capricorn transit, we have seen big business, big finance, big pharma, big media, like big entertainment, big, you know, the music and art industries and everything. Everything has been a part of this big industry that has essentially controlled, dictated, managed, said like what would and wouldn't rise to success based on the hierarchies and the condensed power in the hands of the few at the top of those industries. This is just what has been supported as we've been moving through this energetic period of time that we are now formally out of. The difference as we move forward into Aquarian energy, Aquarius, it's a unique dynamic, and Aquarius is known for being a rather unique energy. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's a sign that it has two co-rulers. We've got Saturn on one hand, and we've got Uranus on the other hand. Saturn, I just got done describing, it's about the limitations and the control and like being in the box and like the regulations and making sure that things are done like by the book according to like a specific blueprint or rule plan. And Aquarius, or I mean Uranus, this is an energy that it's about the lightning striking the tower. This is an energy that comes through and like radically liberates us from that which had been boxing us in or holding us back or constraining or limiting us or keeping us from actually aligning with a greater potential or a greater higher vision or a greater destiny that maybe we had been unaware of or had been being blocked off or just detached from on some level. So when we're dealing with the Aquarian energy, a lot of times it has to do with figuring out how to like overcome our own limitations and learn to use the discipline of Saturn actually to promote our own path of self-actualization, our own potential, our own uniqueness, our own individualism. What we're going to be talking about the Aquarius-Leo axis a lot as we move forward over the course of this next 20 years. Of course, the sign of Leo being the polarity to the Aquarian energy, where this Pluto, this Plutonic energy is going to be so prominent. It's going to bring up both by opposition. Pluto will be opposing whatever planets transit through Leo over this period of time. To me, and it's just my personal opinion, other astrologers may disagree, but when I personally think of the Leo Aquarius energy and the higher octaves associated with that energy, of course, all energy and signs can manifest according to a varying spectrum of octaves. There's always going to be lower octave tendencies associated with any expression of a signal energy, and there's going to be higher octave energies that manifest in association with that sign. And when I'm thinking more about the higher octave manifestations, the Aquarian Leo energy, and where this energy is really pulling us ultimately now at this point in our unfolding cosmic blueprint, which I often bring up the fact that we're actually in an ascending golden age period right now as we enter into the larger age of Aquarius. And if we pull it back and look at things sort of from an even greater level, we are moving through this Aquarius generation, this 20-year period of time. We're also transitioning into an age of Aquarius right now. It's what we're talking about, nearing the shift of the ages on this channel. And for me, I feel like at this point in time, this particular Pluto Aquarius transit generational energy is going to play a major role in actually anchoring this incoming age of Aquarius to our 3D paradigm and reality. I also think the one that's coming 250 years from now, the next Pluto Aquarius transit that we have, will probably really anchor the age of Aquarius in here. But I do think that this period of time right now is playing a role in that greater energy that we're moving into. And I personally am going to be, while I will be discussing probably all the octaves of Aquarius over this next several years, because it's just going to be very relevant, I'm going to probably be looking more actually at the higher octave Aquarian energy, because this age of Aquarius, this 2,000-year age of Aquarius, that this 20-year generation of Aquarius is anchoring us into now, is actually, I think, on an even greater energetic cosmic blueprint universal story type of level, ushering in an ascending golden age. And as a result of that, and it's not just like my personal thoughts and speculation, there's a lot of like ancient tradition and writings and understanding of like greater cycles of time that indicate this, which is where I'm drawing this from. I didn't just like make it up, but kind of in my studies, I guess we could say, all signs are pointing to this period of time and this Aquarian age being a part of an ascending golden age. And as a result of that, I think that we are more likely to see the higher octave Aquarian energy manifesting. And as a result of that, I think that this 20-year Pluto Aquarius generation is also likely to kind of skew upper octave Aquarius, especially as we get towards like the end of this next 20-year period of time. We're gonna have a big learning curve, I feel like, you guys, as we move into this 20-year period of time. I do think this first 5 years could be quite tumultuous. We have to remember Pluto's death and rebirth, it's destruction and it's creation. Okay, it's the Phoenix rising energy, but there could be a major like you know, we're decentralizing things. There could be sort of like a deconstruction that needs to go on as a facet of the decentralization that actually is making things better and will make things better as we move forward in this period of time, that actually, as I said, is functioning to kind of like cosmically evolve us on some level and pull us forward into, I mean, the age of Aquarius, the generation of Aquarius. This is more aligned with like a space age and the cosmic universal nature of our lives and of our reality. Again, there's going to be a lot of past belief systems that are breaking down as we are exiting the Capricorn generation, but also, again, on this greater level, the age of Pisces, transitioning into this age of Aquarius energy right now. And we're not going to go into any more of that right now. I want to refocus back on where we're at specifically this week. But I also want to say, before I get into sort of the nitty gritty of what we've got going on Wednesday and Thursday this week, that because, okay, of just the more significant and transformative period of time that we're in collectively and cosmically right now, as we are transitioning into Age of Aquarius, as we are going through this generational shift right now that is going to be reconfiguring a lot about our reality, about the way that our minds work, and about our perceptions, like I just got done saying, of reality and of ourselves. A lot of the transits and the activations and the planetary positionings that we're going to be moving through, that are going to be interacting with us, that we're going to be dealing with over this upcoming period of time, I do think we're going to find are more and more so like facilitating and assisting our process actually of like breaking through those personal limitations and boundaries, like redefining our own view of ourselves and what we deem and view as possible and in alignment with like a greater potential or a higher purpose, and feeling kind of like re-inspired based on this new understanding or new perception that is likely to just like be birthed within us or be uncovered or be illuminated over this upcoming period of time as well. And I do think that more and more regularly as we move forward now and we head into this Aquarius generation, that a lot of the transits that are happening are going to on some level be very supportive of our process to make whatever changes that we need to make right now to head in that new direction. And even in the energy of this week, we've got two separate fire trines that are going on because the moon is transiting through the sign of Leo. The moon will be conjuncting Mars, trining the North Node on Wednesday, and then forming a grand trine in fire on Thursday. We're going to talk about both of those in more detail in just a minute. But both of those energies to me are helping us, or maybe should be helping us, or maybe are trying to help us, or at least maybe supporting us on some level to redefine our perception of ourselves somehow and kind of be remotivated about maybe a new trajectory for the future. The future looking bright. I do think universe over this next couple of weeks and as we move into Sagittarius season is kind of like priming us to be more optimistic about things. There should be a general sense of upliftment, optimism, things looking like maybe like they're going to be okay, or maybe they'll be better than okay, or maybe some stroke of luck or good fortune, or seeing some blessings that have been interwoven in some of the stuff that we've been dealing with somehow, or some opportunities or some really good successful deals. Like there should be something, or positive growth in some type of a way, something along those lines should be kind of like something that is just characterizing what we're moving through over this next couple of weeks. And I think that as we begin to move into this energy, something about the way that we are seeing ourselves, the way that we're feeling about ourselves, what we're no longer bothered by perhaps that had been defining us, and now we've just decided to let it go, and that's transformational in and of itself. Like things that are happening, the choices that we're making, the actions that we're taking are for a good reason here. And that's another dimension of things that we're going to be talking about as we move through this report all week. Really, we are in a week of like divine intervention, fated action, divine alignment, like being at the right place at the right time. Everything is of significance. There is a purpose and there is a meaning behind what's transpiring right now. Like universe, God is working through man, is working through the collective. in order to get some even like greater, higher plan or job done or accomplished this week. We have a Mars North Node transit that's playing out all week, with the North Node being in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. And the North Node is the destiny point. So there is some like fated evolution, fated pull forward, progress or progression, or just like, again, like things that are meant to be for some reason as part of some greater or higher plan, even if we're not aware of it, even if we can't conceive of it, even if it's not making sense to us right now. It's like dots are being connected, or dominoes are being set in place, or codes are being activated that are necessary in order for some greater plan or greater purpose, or just necessary event to unfold in order such that something else can unfold that is also of some kind of like necessary purpose right now. So regardless of how things are playing out this week, we should try to do our best to kind of maintain our faith, because I think also there's been so many tests lately. We've been really put through it, really been being put up against a lot of walls, really may have felt pushed to the brink, pushed to the breaking point. Lots of like tests to our faith have gone on over this past couple of months while Pluto was retrograding and finishing out this very last Pluto in Capricorn transit. And again, like moving forward, I think that we may begin to see, or at least for a period of time, see some of the payoff maybe, or just feel like a sense of karmic relief perhaps, or like there's just a burden or a weight lifted off of our shoulders, or some type of positive growth or abundance or good opportunity or something along those lines. That's where we are moving towards. So hopefully this fire energy as it's coming through this week is like setting us on that path, putting us in that direction. Maybe there are still some things that need to be burned down, but hopefully it's like a controlled burn that is just making the soil like rich and fertile for what is about to grow next. And I also want to say, as we begin this report, because I'm going to be talking about the North Node is quite relevant right now. As I said, an exact trine to Mars this week, North Node being the destiny point, ruling the path ahead in the sign of Aries. Also preparing to conclude a 1.5 year long transit of the North Node through the sign of Aries, therefore the South Node through the sign of Libra. This past 1.5 years, universe has been sort of urging us all to find our own like inner warrior, to be our own leader, to like rediscover our own sense of like motivation and courage and passion to pursue something new, to move in a new direction, to like take a risk perhaps, or to re-identify ourselves in a much more authentic way that might be in alignment with some type of higher purpose that we feel ourselves being called towards right now. The North Node's through the sign of Aries, the sign of Mars. I've been calling this like our own personal leadership era, and we should have learned some lesson, or we should have made some progress over the past 1.5 years in that regard. And over this next couple of months, as the North Node concludes the transit through the sign of Aries, the emphasis on these themes might just be becoming more strong or prominent in our experience, or we may begin to realize that we are acting and living and behaving from a greater place of personal power maybe than we had been previous, to this past 1.5 years, which is another thing that is in alignment, of course, with this generational shift that we are in right now, with the shift of ages that we are in right now, where power is being decentralized. The flip side of that is a self-empowerment. This will be a 20-year period of time where, yes, power is being decentralized, but it's also like people, individuals, the collective are being self-empowered, are becoming very like personally knowledgeable, and therefore are less dependent on those control structures, those hierarchies, like the power and control like dynamics, the experts, like all of the bigs of the past. Of course, it's not like we're all going to become completely self-sufficient and everything, but there's just going to be a lot more options, a lot more alternatives, and we're going to be, all of us, like a lot more personally knowledgeable in choosing for ourselves. This is a much less like cookie cutter, like we all follow the same, like we all stand in the same line and we all follow the same rules and we all take the same path in order to try to get to the same place. This is not the way that this energy is functioning. And again, like it's going to have a lot to do just with the knowledge that we gain and how that diversifies the options that we have and the choices that we can make and how we choose to run our lives personally. Like, people are going to be doing things out of the way that it benefits like their own individuality and like what they need to like thrive and be successful, as opposed to just following the collective general guidelines of what like on average works best. You know what I mean? And as a result of that, if we like look at how that goes going down the road, that is also going to assist this collective like goal really of self-actualization that the Aquarius energy seeks to manifest, because we're going to become healthier and stronger body, mind, and spirit. And as a result of that, we're going to just be much more capable, much more productive, much more healthy overall, much more fulfilled, and much more like consciously playing a role in creating our own experiences, which you can see how that would then assist and facilitate the idea of us going into this like golden age where those very qualities would be sort of like baseline defining factors and features. So I feel like just the way that I'm looking at it, and again, that's just my opinion, other people could totally vary in their approach and their ideas and their opinions about things out there, but the way that it's like portraying itself to me and the trajectory, like the dominoes associated with it, where we're at and where we're going, like that's just sort of the progression of things. And again, these trines that we've got going on this week, I feel like are setting us up for success in taking baby steps in that direction. And we also have the North Node moving to 5 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a triangle with wings. And we've got 2 fire trines playing out this week, which are triangle aspects. We've got a grand trine in fire as the North Node moves to that position. We've also got the position of the South Node at 5 degrees of Libra, a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. So I'm just going to set that one down and let you guys chew on it, but it really is describing a lot of this shift, I feel like, Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius and where that ball is ultimately rolling and what it's turning into. Okay, so now let's just kind of like bring it back down, bring it back to what we may be personally experiencing as we move through the day-to-day of this, and less, you know, what it's doing on the overall collective, like eventually where we're going type of level. It could be triggering because of the moon, the lunar placement coming into the opposition with Pluto newly arrived at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. Remember, we have also had an ongoing Mars-Pluto opposition that has been contributing to maybe a lot of the more confrontational, contentious, just like high pressure, high stress, something's got to give, breakthroughs necessary, energy, environments, circumstances, situations, scenarios that we may have been moving through over this past couple of weeks, building up to this point. And especially Saturn station and that full moon that we had, but was in a conjunction to Uranus, and now that was on the 15th, and now on the 19th, Pluto enter the sign of Aquarius. We have had that opposition playing out. That has been a very intense confrontational energy, like I said, and the moon again will be triggering that duo of planets. Although Pluto is now not at 29 degrees of Capricorn anymore, is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but just because the moon will be in a conjunction to Mars as well, this could be bringing up power struggles, anger issues, like an internal sense of like angst or irritability. People could sort of have a short fuse in the energy on Wednesday and just might not be like, they could be easily bothered, I would say. Inner turmoil, irritation, depression could come with this, especially perhaps in the face maybe of what must be overcome with the Pluto opposition, or the changes, the transformations that have to be made, or what we feel like we need to lose in order to ultimately gain or get to where we need to get to. Conflict within the home and family could also come with this. Conflict with the mother could come with this. We've got a Moon-Mars situation going on. Also, inner child wounds, issues to do with love or loyalty, ego, personal creative self-expression, Wounds to our heart as well could be coming up with this. Leo rules the heart, but we have to remember this trine to the North Node right now. The moon in the sign of Leo in a conjunction to Mars, yes, and in opposition to Pluto, yes. Could this be bringing up, you know, the confrontation, the conflict, the power struggles, all of that? Yes, but whatever's going on right now, it is purposeful. With that North Node trine, like, things that are happening are meant to be happening. Universe is on some level functioning through the ongoings and the actions of us right now as we move through this period of time to, like, is some type of conduit for some greater plan, again, that is unfolding. Okay, so there could be anger that's going on while we've got that moon Mars on Wednesday, emotional responses, passionate feelings. Passions could be running very high, but again, like, I do think that moving forward, things are going to start to skew positive. We're going to start to see the glasses half full. There's definitely like a sense of optimism that is going to be like trying to like orient us in that direction, and some good opportunities or positive growth should be coming now as we move forward through this next couple of weeks. So there could also be like some type of breakthrough or some type of need to overcome something that is presented in the energy of Wednesday or Thursday, something pushing or pulling us forward, or a powerful will or motivation that we feel rising within us with the moon Mars conjunction, especially with the North Node trine, but also inner child wounds, issues having to do with love or loyalty, ego, personal creative self-expression perhaps. It's actually kind of a persistent theme all week. We have not only the Leo energy that's strong because of the moon transiting through the sign of Leo this week, but we also have a Chiron fire trine, Chiron, Mercury, and the moon coming in on Thursday, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. The people that mow the lawn just showed up here to mow the lawn, and they're right outside the window, and so I'm sorry if you start hearing a lawnmower in the background. I wasn't expecting him to be here right now, so hopefully that doesn't interfere too much with the rest of the video, but I want to apologize if there's lawnmowers in the background. Anyways, let's keep going. So I do actually feel like this inner child situation, or releasing some old inner child wounds, or again coming to a point where we're like reframing perhaps maybe some old childhood experience or some old view of ourselves that came from maybe something related to our childhood somehow that just doesn't fit us anymore. Or maybe we're having some type of an awakening that goes on, that where we realize we just like don't need to continue to define ourselves like in that way or along those lines. Things being reframed, healed, and released along the lines of perhaps some things that have been lingering from maybe a childhood trauma, or just in relation to our inner child, or that just have, for whatever reason, like characterized how we felt about ourselves for a long period of time, maybe since childhood. But again, we're realizing now, for whatever reason, is not who we're going to be or what rules we need to live or abide by going forward. There is sort of like a flush that is being indicated this week, I would say, that does have to do with these old ideas of ourselves, this old emotional conditioning that maybe, you know, had been having us view ourselves and our lives a certain way on the way out, as we are now realizing that that's just not necessarily accurate. There is going to be a redefinition of the self, I feel like, that goes on a very collective level over this next couple of weeks, and that has been, it's not like it's just happening instantly. Like, these are probably things that have been working their way like into our lives or up from the depths within us over a period of years now, but are finally reaching the point where like we get it, we understand, like something has changed within us, like we see the light in some type of way, some type of awakening, epiphany, and that in and of itself, you know, being what is causing this shift that really changes everything for us moving forward. So, you know, maybe we're realizing that we need to release or change or heal the way that we are looking at ourselves or our own lives or our own potentials or what's possible for ourselves. And that, as I mentioned just now, is what is going to unlock this next phase for us, which I do think is represented by this positive expansion, positive growth, blessings, good luck, good fortune that the Jupiter Sun oppositions up here that are coming up here are going to be bringing into our lives as well. So at a base level this week, aside from this generational shift that we have going on, could be bringing some powerful internalized awakenings about our own selves, our own creative power, our own creative potential or purpose somehow. There could be some flame of inner illumination that sparks within us that continues to grow brighter from this point going forward. These are not like fleeting changes, you guys. These are like foundational, life-changing changes that are finding their way to us now and are going to be altering the way that things are going forward. They're not just like going away, you know what I mean? Like, these are long-term changes that are here to stay, that are laying the foundation for what is going to come, develop, evolve over this next 20-year period of time. And it is going to have a lot to do with bringing us all on this path of self-empowerment and self-actualization. I mean, it's indicated the North Node in the sign of Aries, that's the sign of the self, ruled by Mars. Mars is a planet having a lot to do with the self and the ego. Right now, Mars is in the sign of Leo, ruled by the sun. That is the other sign that has a lot to do with the self, the life force, the character, the vitality, creative self-expression, and also the ego. So both Mars and Leo represent dimensions of the ego and the self on one level or another, and Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius is also an energy, because Aquarius is about the individual in the context of the greater overall of humanity, and Pluto is power in all of its forms. So this is an energy that is empowering the individual as well. So not only right now do we have the North Node in the sign of Aries that's talking about personal leadership, self-empowerment, Mars in the sign of Leo that is like a very active and empowered life force energy, and then Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius, empowering the individual and the authentic nature existing with the authentic like nature, purpose, and potential existing within that individual. When we combine all of those things, again, this is an indication, I feel like, where universe is facilitating and supporting our personal transition into this new era, this new age, and this new energy that's coming in right now. So if you guys are feeling like you need to take back power over some area of your life or another, if you need to be more of a personal authority in terms of whatever's going on with you in any situation, if you feel like you no longer need some type of like external support somehow in some dimension of your life or another, this is a facet of this transition from this very centralized operating mode to this more decentralized operating mode. And the more that we can become self-knowledgeable, self-empowered, and exercise our ability to choose other options outside perhaps of the template, the norm, like the whatever particular industry, like the industry norm, okay? I feel like that is where we're going to find our greatest gains, our greatest success, our greatest remedies and solutions and advice and like whatever it is as we move forward now. Because with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, that old template, those old ways, that old cookie cutter, the old method or the group average applied to the whole, it's just not going to be what is effective anymore. And the more we can find individual solutions to our problems that suit us, the more we're going to individually thrive and get better and healthier and stronger and smarter and more fulfilled moving into this energy, because that is what is supported. That is the transition, and we're going to see it take place. It's probably like it's probably going to be quite noticeable right off the bat in a lot of ways, but for a lot of people it will take a while to catch on and really see how much it is starting to permeate just the overall 3D climate of things. Okay, so we really do sort of all kind of have a mandate right now, and if you don't know what to do with yourself, or you don't know what to do or what direction to go in, the more that we can kind of make it our quest to discover our own true nature, what is really true and authentic to us outside of other people's opinions and thoughts and ideas about what we should and shouldn't do, and you know what is and what isn't a path to success and stuff like that, the more that we can like uniquely become ourselves, but in a way also, this is what we have to remember. As we start this Aquarius generation, there's likely to be a major breakdown in authority, which is probably going to make things quite chaotic. And a lot of people coming out of this very rigid, rule-based system are not going to know what to do with themselves, not know how to operate. And a lot of people are probably really going to struggle adjusting to the way that just things are going to be now moving forward. And I will tell you, we have to remember, even though we're moving out of the sign of Capricorn, which really was this very Saturn-oriented sign, we're moving into Aquarius, which is Saturn and Uranus. The more self-regulating, self-disciplined, self-controlled we can be in the application of the knowledge and the skills and, you know, whatever it is that we are dealing with, the options or the choices or, you know, whatever we're doing, the better things are going to work out for us. If we're struggling, okay, with not knowing how to operate once the guardrails are taken off, sort of, be like channeling the productive nature of the Saturnian frequencies, vibrations, influence in and of ourselves in our attempt to, you know, go down that future path, to activate that potential, to arrive at that destiny, to manifest that authenticity or that skill or, you know, whatever it is that we're working on, whatever we feel called towards. This is a period of self-empowerment, right? Self-empowerment doesn't just mean that we get to go out there and do whatever we want and just be reckless and careless in our expressions of ourselves and our energy. Actually, I feel like, you know, they say with great with great power comes great responsibility. And I feel like as we move forward into this Pluto Aquarian generation, that saying perhaps has never been more important, crucial, and relevant in the way that we are using this energy, because if we're being self-empowered, we're being given our power back, that also means that we now have a greater responsibility to use it wisely. And that will be part of the learning curve that we go through over this Pluto Aquarius generation as well. Learning how to use that knowledge and that power and that personal authority in a way that generates our own success through the implementation of the Saturnian qualities in a way that supports growth and progress rather than diminishes, box in, limits, and restraints. You understand what I mean? So we've got to learn how to take that Capricornian energy from something that held us back to something that supports our freedom, essentially, our freedom and our growth, because the more like self-creative that we can be, right, the more that we can use what we have in a disciplined way to produce something that serves on a greater level or contributes to the world, the more like resources and everything else we're going to have at our disposal to be able to consciously create the life and the experience that we also want to have for ourselves going forward, which is how this idea of self-actualization, I think, begins to take form. Okay, so these are the themes that we're moving through this week. We've got this emphasis on the Leo energy right now, the Aries Mars energy right now, the Aquarius Pluto energy right now, and we are rediscovering our own sense of self-empowerment, but we've also got to learn how to use our power wisely for the best to get the most fulfilling results out of it. And that's, I feel like, what this next period of time really is going to be teaching us. We are learning to rediscover what it is essentially, I feel like, that we were born to do passionately and authentically while still maintaining that level of grounding and self-discipline and self-control that ultimately equates to personal mastery, which is another like way of saying the process of self-actualization. So I do think this is where things are trending and heading right now. This could be another week, therefore, of letting go of some old emotional baggage that has been distorting our view of ourselves, which should be coming clearer to us in some way now and moving forward. Okay, and then of course we've got the potential for the anger or the intense, maybe painful emotions that could be going on with this as well. As I said, we do have a grand fire trine playing out on Thursday, Mercury in Sagittarius, Chiron in Aries ruled by Mars, and Mars in the sign of Leo. And also on Thursday, the sun will be entering the sign of Sagittarius, bringing a vibe shift there and preparing to now start building into the opposition with Jupiter, which should be elevating our spirits now and moving forward over this next couple of weeks. So I do feel like this grand trine in fire on Thursday is helping us. Mercury, the mind, Chiron, the wounded healer, teacher, master archetype. This has to do with our old wounds, perhaps, that in the sign of Aries have like altered or distorted our view or perception of self. The moon in Leo, it's a mental and emotional alignment. Chiron's retrograde right now as well. It's like some type of illumination or like a cleansing fire or some type of like just motivation or courage or desire to get ahead in some capacity, in some way, you know, that is helping us to release something, to overcome something, to ultimately come to a point of ascending the triangle with wings out of whatever past distortion may have been blocking or limiting our progress or our own self-perception up until this point in time. So I feel like this energy is helping us to realign ourselves with purpose and destiny, detached from old limitations and like just mental blocks perhaps that maybe had been holding us back. But good news to come, we are heading towards this next couple of weeks where things should look up and there should be something that is a good opportunity or positive growth or productive expansion or something, good luck, that is making its way to us. So this is a time of growth, transformation, positive outlooks, forward momentum in the right direction. Things are going to start moving forward in some good ways, maybe some better ways for us, and there should be some burdens lifted moving forward. That's what I have to say about the astrology as we hit the midpoint of our week this week, you guys. The triangle with wings, solutions could honestly just be presenting themselves. With trines operating this week, especially fire signs, I always feel about trines, that's kind of like things just falling into place. And with the North Node there as well, this is like a level of divine intervention. Again, the actions, the activities, the ongoings, the behaviors being exhibited by people, by us today, and as we move through this week are very purposeful. If you find yourself with some like maybe random weird urge to do something or go somewhere or act in some type of way, it could be just like an impact of the way that this energy is functioning right now, and there could be something that universe wants you to get done out there. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys, about the astrology, what we've got going on by way at least of our chart right now. We're going to talk about the tarot cards for a minute. We had a short message come out today, but this message to me is saying like, do not worry, whatever it is that maybe has had you up at night, nightmares, stress, like not able to relax, just like kind of tension maybe through the roof. It's over is what this message is saying. New beginnings are right on the horizon. Things maybe that we've been fighting against that have been making us feel like we're never going to meet our goal or never get to where we want to get to, or like we're just not going to like kind of be back on top perhaps. This message is saying that we really don't need to worry about that anymore right now, that the worries, we can sort of lay them to rest. They're not going to be the end of us. Actually, on the other hand, they're not something that we should be really allowing to consume us anymore, and we need to trust that we are actually on the verge of a brand new beginning that is making its way right now as well. The only card that came out in our reading today was the Ace of Cups, which has everything to do with new beginnings, especially how we feel about things. And in terms of our relationships and connection to others, we could be on the verge of making some new connections, having some new relationships. We could be coming into a new emotional relationship with ourselves. We could start feeling differently about things. Maybe we find ourselves like wanting something new or something that we hadn't previously like had any desire for or to experience. But this is talking about newness in the context of how we're feeling about things, our relationships with others, and what is on the verge of growing and developing in our lives as well. And the back of the deck, we had the Nine of Swords in reverse. If I'm going to see the Nine of Swords, you guys, I generally want to see it in reverse. The Nine of Swords has to do with like what keeps us up at night, our nightmares, anxiety, stress, fear. When it's in reverse, this has to do with what is not a problem. Under that, we have the Five of Wands, and then we have the Nine of Pentacles. This to me is sort of if we feel like we've just been fighting and fighting and fighting to accomplish something, to become something, to create something, to come to a point where we feel like we are stable and successful and, you know, whatever it is can like stand on its own 2 feet and isn't reliant perhaps on that power structure or on that external whatever or that hierarchy for some reason. I feel like describing perhaps like a struggle that maybe we've been going through to get somewhere, and the fears that maybe we wouldn't be successful, fears of failure, fears like we can't maybe accomplish it or get it done, maybe like there was too much resistance blocking our path. But this is literally saying like, do not worry about it, or the time for worrying about it has passed, or the battle has passed, but we are on the verge of some new beginning. And it's the cups, it's the Ace of Cups. This has to do with a trajectory of growth leading to a state of like true fulfillment. So the new beginnings that are happening right now are to serve us like on a heart and soul type of level, ultimately leading us down this path to fulfillment. But it's time to, according at least to this reading, to let go of whatever it is that may have been stressing us out so much over this past period of time, or in terms of whatever we've been dealing with or working through. So there's our tarot message, you guys. I'm gonna get us a synchronicity card now. Ask God, Spirit, Universe for one more piece of guidance or advice. What do we need to know? What will benefit us to keep in mind as we do hit the midpoint of our week and head towards the weekend? Move through this really strong Pluto. 0 degrees and 29 degrees. The first and the last degrees of any signs are known as the critical degrees. And when we have planets at those degrees, they are packing a powerful punch. And so this Pluto Aquarius 0 degree energy, while Pluto is at 0 degrees Aquarius, is probably going to be like a pretty prominent force that we're dealing with. Let me grab the card. And you guys, just as I was saying in the tarot reading, the time for like having that anxiety and fear and like thinking that things may not maybe work out on our favor or something like that perhaps has passed. Our tarot message for today says you are protected. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. Psalms 91:11. Know your guardian angel is with you always, protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe. When fear overwhelms you, read the 91st Psalm in its entirety and rest in the assurance you are protected. So you are protected, you guys. As I've said throughout the course of this video, divine intervention, like there is the hand of God that is interplaying and whatever is, that is choreographing everything that is playing out right now, and you are protected. It says, know your guardian angel is with you always and protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe. And we have the 9 of Swords in reverse. So no fear, you guys. Things are heading in the right direction. You are protected. We are going to move forward in that frame of mind and with that understanding, and good things are to come. So that's what I have to say for our video today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I also wanted to remind you about the jewelry company Otter Spirit. They make astrologically themed jewelry. They make functional gemstone jewelry, beautiful jewelry, very high quality. I've got a couple of their bracelets on right now. I talked about them in one of my previous videos. If you're looking for like a unique and just like kind of creative, authentic, functional, purposeful, meaningful gift for somebody this holiday season, I want to let you guys know that they're also having a Black Friday sale. If you use the link in my description box below to make your purchases, 25% off 2 items, 30% off 3 items, 35% off 4 items. So again, if you guys use my affiliate link in my description box below, you will get those Black Friday savings applied to your order. And they are just some really nice pieces of jewelry, very thoughtful gifts. So I wanted to remind you guys about that as well. Come back with me on Friday, you guys. We have a weekend video that we need to get into, wrap this monumental energy week up, see what things are looking like for us as we head towards the weekend. I will be here to do just that. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, you guys. Wishing you a beautiful week, and until then, bye.